Hey, what's up, Street Talks? Eric from the Eric Street Photography blog. So y'all might know that one of my passions in life, besides photography and street photography, is philosophy. So let me just kind of share like what I think philosophy is, my personal definition, and why I think it's important. So if you go back to the Greek, right? Essentially, it was funny. To say you're a philosopher was essentially trying to be a low-key way, or trying to be a humble brag, saying, oh, I'm a lover of wisdom, or I'm seeking after wisdom. Philos is love, like philia, like love. Sophia being knowledge, wisdom, right? So essentially lovers of wisdom. So to say that I'm a wise person back then was considered bad manners. So, or to call yourself wise is not seen as a good thing. You know, all these guys want to say they're wise, but they didn't have the guts to say it. But anyways, so instead they will call themselves philosophers, like, oh, you know, I'm not wise yet, and I'll never be wise. Kind of like the whole Socrates thing. This is where I'm starting to get like a little sus of Socrates and a lot of these other guys, where they're like, oh, you know, I'm not wise yet, but I love wisdom, whatever, maybe. Okay, so let's continue. So my thought is this: as a philosopher, I mean, I guess we're all seeking for wisdom, whatever that means. And so maybe one thing I want to tackle is this: what is wisdom? To me, wisdom is finding out what is best for you, what is maximally beneficial to you. So for example, one point of wisdom that I obtain is my passion is photography, blogging, vlogging, video, visual arts, philosophy, and so forth. Now, this wisdom is very, very practical to me because it allows me to live a more direct, a more meaningful, a more creatively productive life. So, you know, even this notion I have, like, I think, I know people have been doing that, but this is new, a little bit new to me, but kind of like this is like these, like, as my best friend Carl Edwards says, from streetshootar.com, he calls it like the guerrilla vlog, where I'm just literally walking in the streets just with a Lumix G9 12mm Leica Lumix lens, Rode video mic, and I'm just walking on the streets, and I'm just vlogging at you. And it's funny too, because you know, we do street photography. How come no one does street vlogs, right? Everyone's just doing vlogs in their apartment. It's kind of boring. I prefer to walk and talk. But anyways, so knowing this wisdom that, oh, I actually do like doing these vlogs while talking and sharing my thoughts with you. This is wisdom. Things that are practical to you, things which are physiologically beneficial to you. So another point of wisdom, practical wisdom. Doing this kind of powerlifting style 1 rep max heavy singles is much more interesting than doing bodybuilding styled, you know, just kind of pointless reps for the sake of maximizing hypertrophy and getting bigger. So this is just personal wisdom to me. So the thing that's interesting about wisdom is all of wisdom is subjective. What I constitute as wisdom is going to be maximally beneficial to me, Eric Kim, but it's not going to be beneficial to you. So it seems like the point of life for you is figure out what is maximally beneficial to you. And I think the best way to do this is just through ruthless self-experimentation. I mean, it honestly, like, even for me, so I'm 32 right now, right? It's funny, I started YouTube when I was like 21 or 22, before YouTube was even a thing. But anyways, so when I started YouTube, or started doing this thing, you know, like, I just didn't have as much life experience nor practical wisdom because I just haven't lived as long, right? And so it seems like the last 10 years have been very beneficial for me because I've been able to find out what's maximally beneficial to me and for me to pursue my own ends, my own needs, and my own loves, right? And so I guess in some sense, philosophy is augmenting your own personal wisdom. Philosophy is augmenting what is best beneficial to you. And I think it just comes down to the question, why? So if you think about it, every philosopher, every child is probably born a philosopher, in the sense that they're always asking why. It's like, you know, daddy's like, oh, take your shoes off at the door. Why? Or, you know, do your laundry or brush your teeth. Why? Or, you know, why is the sky blue? Like, so it seems that the philosophers are the ultimate children. They're just kind of curious about everything. And they're kind of curious about, oh, why are things the way they are? And then this is where things get interesting. Should they be the way they are? do they deserve to be like that? And then should we change the way things are? So to me, this is very interesting. And something also I've realized recently is, in terms of the totem pole or the hierarchy of knowledge, it actually does seem like philosophy is on top, because like, you know, there's people on the internet who say this. If you look at you click around enough on Wikipedia, sooner or later, the final resting point is philosophy. So it seems like, in terms of the totem pole of knowledge, philosophy is on top. Yet no one really talks about philosophy anymore, which is kind of, this is what I think. I think business books and self-improvement books kind of moonlight as philosophy books. I think a lot of these business book writers or self-improvement writers, I think they're ultimately interested in philosophy, but maybe they don't have the guts to call themselves philosophers, or they don't know they're philosophers, or they don't, like, the thought maybe just doesn't occur to them. But anyways, so even when I meet people, what I would, you know, I might start changing this, right? When I meet people, it's like, oh, you know, who are you? What do you do? I say, I'm a philosopher. that sounds, I love it because it sounds so pretentious, but it just tends to be more interesting for just conversations in general. So, ooh, I kind of like this shadow in this tree. It's kind of nice. Ooh, that's a nice one. All right, so anyways, let's continue our walk. Man, I love this walk. I'm like, yo, check out that. So beautiful. All right, so let's continue our walk. So talking about philosophy. So then comes the question is, why is philosophy important, and can we live a good life without philosophy? Obviously you can. You don't need to be a philosopher. You don't need to know philosophy in order to enjoy your life. But to me, it's just fun and it's interesting. Ooh, some more water. Ooh. To me, life is just much more interesting. It's more fun. It's more meaningful when we actually strive to know a little bit, with a little bit more precision, why we do what we do. And obviously there are limits to knowledge. You know, I could read a quadrillion books on philosophy. I could think for the rest of my life, and I'm not going to really ultimately know why I do what I do, but it does kind of give me a little bit of hope and direction, and it makes things a little bit more fun. And once again, if we think about philosophy as keep asking the question why over and over again, things tend to get interesting. So my buddy and I, Stoicho, we built this app. It's called, we call it the Y app, or he calls it the Zen of Eric. And it's like a Facebook Messenger chat app. Essentially you just start chatting with it, and it just kind of responds and just keeps asking the question why. And it's like brute force, because like why. And to me, it's, when it comes to anything in life, I forget where I read this like Toyota book or something like that. It's like the 5 Why challenge, is that if you really want to discover a deeper truth or insight on why you do anything or just your life, just ask yourself the question why. So for example, you know, why do you vlog? Oh, I vlog because it's a fun way for me to talk and walk and share my ideas. Why? Because I think my ideas are worth sharing. Why? Because the thought of me empowering at least one other human being with a certain idea or thought is appealing to me. Why? Because I remember what I felt like when I was disempowered and I didn't have access to the ideas or interesting ideas which could empower me. So that, to me, that's actually a very interesting insight, right? And so you could do this just by asking yourself the question why. Anything in life, photography philosophy, art philosophy, life philosophy, science philosophy, knowledge philosophy, ethical philosophy, AI computer philosophy. There's so much philosophy for you to study, and this is the great optimistic thought. Even if we live to be 10,000 years old, I think we could barely scratch the surface of philosophy. There's still so many new innovations which haven't happened yet in philosophy. Maybe this is a noble new goal we could aim at.